Hi, I'm Keith McEvoy, CEO of Success That Works and founder of SuperCharge Academy. What we're going to look at today is a really burning question, or at least if it's not a burning question in your mind, it should be, because this is something that could affect you big time, especially if you are in one of those service-related jobs. If you're coming from manufacturing like me, you realize this is not new. Robots have been stealing jobs since time immemorial, right? But what I want to do is give you 3 little questions so you can actually figure out what it is that you do, and then figure out, or is your job potentially under threat? Because let's face it, if you knew that your job was going to be under threat, and you knew now that your job is going to be under threat in 5 years' time, or maybe even 10 years' time, you can actually do something about it, yeah? But if you don't appreciate what robots can and can't do, and what type of jobs they're after, then, my friend, you might just be getting a tap on the shoulder in 3 years' time, and that's it, right? And then you're going to be so frustrated, and you're going to be figuring out, well, why didn't I see this coming? So I'm going to make sure that if you are affected by this, first of all, you are going to have the tools right at the end of this to see it coming, okay? And secondly, you might actually look at this and realize, do you know what? I am not affected by this, and I know why I'm not affected by it, and I know how to create value to make sure that I will never be affected by it. So that's what we're going to look at. I think you know my background by now, but actually I used to be one of these in a manufacturing environment. I was a manufacturing engineer. So my job was actually to go and replace people with robots. That's what we did day in, day out. And the reason we did it was for the same reasons that robots have been used today. Robots, they were cheaper, because robots, guess what? They run 24 hours a day and they just keep going. That's just how it happens, right? Robots as well, they don't get sick. Nothing happens to them. You don't have to pay them pensions. You know how much you pay for them. They work for 10 years and then you just replace them. It's such an easy decision. It's so easy. That's why we use robots. And the other great thing about robots is you tell a robot to do something and the robot does it. So you tell a robot, screw in the screw, and it screws in the screw forever. It never gets bored, never goes on coffee breaks. It just works, right? So I'm a terrible robot. I have to have my coffee breaks. I have to have the quick chats. I would never be employed putting screws on. That's why we put robots in. Now here's the thing. A lot of people are missing the point about this new influx of robots into the non-manufacturing roles, so into the service industries. And they're missing the point about what robots can and can't do. So you'll see in the press a lot of talk about, oh, all the jobs are going to be under threat, and if you're in this industry, your job is going, and if you're in that industry, it's not. It's not as simple as that. They're not quite understanding it. So that's what I'm going to show you now, is exactly what's happening. So basically, there are 3 types of things that I guarantee you are doing. You are doing one of these 3 things, okay? I know it looks very simple, but it is actually this simple, okay? The first category is your job might be when A happens, do B, okay? In a manufacturing line, it was, when the car came down here, weld this part of the door. Yeah? Every minute another car came, what did I do? Oh, car has come, weld the door. Car has come, weld the door. That is a repeatable task. When A happens, do B. In the service industry, okay, a repeatable task is the exact same. When the phone rings, do B. When the email comes in, do B. When the boss says X, do B. Yeah? They are repeatable tasks. If that task happens all the time and you're expected to do B from it, it's a repeatable task. Now, here's the problem. Repeatable tasks, the only thing preventing a robot taking a repeatable task right this second is 1, laziness on the part of your manager to go and make that happen. 2, it's too expensive for them at the moment to do it. Maybe you're just doing something quite complicated. But my friend, the price of robots is coming down dramatically. So if the only reason that you haven't been replaced yet is because of laziness or it's too expensive, it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. So if you recognize what you're doing every day is, this happens, then I do this, then warning, warning, warning. Your job's on the line. You've got to recognize that and start taking actions now. Okay? The second thing, and this is the one that I don't think people quite appreciate how big this one is. And it's a slight subtle change. It's if A, then do B. So what's the difference here? This is if. And if is, okay, this doesn't happen every day. So the if is typically, okay, this has just happened. I need a bit of brain power. I need a bit of thinking. I need a bit of analyzing. I need a bit of, sorry, excuse me, I need a bit of skills or expertise to go and do this, right? And that is what the if is. This is essentially someone going, this isn't quite working right, or needs a bit of assistance, and I'm going to employ a bit of brain power and a bit of processing power to go and make that happen. So for example, you've got a website and 90% of customers use the website and they buy their product from it. It's working perfectly. Except for every now and again, a customer goes to order it and it doesn't quite work for them. Maybe the delivery doesn't happen, or maybe the website crashes. And at that stage, they pick up the phone. It's an if. They've hit a problem. So you're going to use your brain power to go, the delivery hasn't happened. Hang on a second, I'll go and figure out why the process is broken and I'll make it work again. That's an if. Now here's the problem. Ifs can now be automated by robots. You've heard about artificial intelligence and about how artificial intelligence can actually figure out these ifs like they were never able to figure out before. And they can figure out amazingly complicated ifs. They can figure out ifs that me and you would take ages to work out. So someone comes up with a really complicated problem that we've never seen before, and we have to think and figure it out and work it out and eventually come up with the right answer. Well, at the moment, we get paid for doing that. In the future, a robot will be able to do that, right? Problem hits, they'll do it. Here's the thing. A lot of what we call professions, all they are ifs. All they are complicated problem solvers, but they're following rules underneath it all. They are under threat right this second. And these are the things that within the next 3 to 10 years, these guys are going to be affected. And I'm going to run through a few of these in a second. So if you're potentially one of these professions, hang on, because you need to hear this. The third one, okay, this is where you need to be. Okay, this is no A, then no B. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that if you are the type of person who can actually make sure that A never happens, right? It never happens, so things never go wrong. You're able to fix things permanently. So if you're able to do that, then you never need a robot or a person or anything like that. This is where the money is. This is where working is going. Because essentially what you're doing in this type of role is you're simplifying processes and making them all work. You're coming up with great products that people never complain about. They never pick up the phone to complain about it, so you never need a B, right? You've got processes that always work. Yeah? So you never need a B for when it doesn't. You get it? This is where you need to be. And we'll talk about how you get to that. So let's take you through a few examples of the types of professions that are going to be hit by this. And I'll give you three. Let's talk about doctors for a second. And let's put aside all the morals and break it down to exactly what does your GP actually do. So you present yourself in the morning at the doctor's surgery and with a cold. And the doctor sort of basically goes through an if and then do. And the if is, well, if they have, like me, a snotty nose and coughing and a bit of a sore throat, well then they have this, which means give them a prescription for this. It is a classic if and do. And yes, The if is a bit complex because I might be different when Bill says, Bill's got a green runny nose, I have a red runny nose, yeah? So the doctor has a bit of complexity here. But do you see the parallel? Do you think that artificial intelligence might start being able to do that? And here's the mad thing, artificial intelligence will probably be able to do this better than your doctors, right? So that part of a doctor's role is under threat, whether we like it or not. An accountant, the same thing. An accountant gets employed because we have all of these charts of accounts and maybe we've had a merger and all of this has to be mashed together in a way that we can produce our reports and we can put stuff into the stock market without getting sued. So you need brain power to figure out how all these numbers work and how they get analysed and how they get put together. So most companies typically have armies of accountants that all they do is they take numbers and essentially make decisions on them. So because this comes from this country on this general ledger, and let's put it together like this and apply this type of accounting techniques to it. Right? It doesn't happen all the time, but on the big transactions, we have to have brain power behind it. That's another if. So do you think that a computer with a bit more artificial intelligence can go and do that? Absolutely. Absolutely they can. And the frightening thing is this is an area, accounting and finance is an area where computers are taking on the world here at the moment. They are already doing this. And thirdly is managers, okay? If you're a manager, you better pay attention to this really carefully because most managers operate on when this happens. So when John is late coming to work, then this is what I do. I give off to them, yeah? That's an automatable task. And then managers say, well, if this happens, so John is off work and I ask a few questions and then this happens and that, then I do that. Is that automatable? Absolutely. That's absolutely automatable. As managers, we need to be here. We need to be making sure that John does not want to be off work. John is empowered. He loves coming to work, right? Because when he's coming to work and all enthusiastic and everything, guess what? We don't have to go through disciplinary processes. We don't have to have all of that junk because we're here. And you can see the value of that type of manager. That's the type of manager we all aspire to be. And that's why we get paid. That's why the best managers get paid so much, because they are in this, the no A, no B. So what I want you to do is have a very good look at your job. And I mean an honest look at your job. Are you doing when A, then do B? If so, right this second, you need to have a think about what you're doing and where you want to go in life because you're under threat. You are waiting for the tap on the shoulder. If you are in a job where you're relying on just your expertise, your problem solving, just when this complicated scenario does, I come up with the right answer. You're probably 3 to 10 years away from a robot taking over your job. So you need to think about what it is you're trying to do. Do you want to be that plaster that keeps getting stuck over the sore? Or is it time that you now became number 3? Stop just sticking the plaster on it and become the expert at making sure these problems never happen. I can't recommend highly. That's where I think you need to be going. And you need to be starting moving there now. How do you do that? You start forgetting about sticking plaster and stuff. Start finding out what's actually going on underneath. Start figuring out what are the types of things you need to do to make sure this problem never happens. Yes, it's difficult. That's why a robot won't replace this, because it's too difficult for robots. But with our human brains, we can do this day in, day out. Robots can't. So yes, this is going to be a difficult transition for you. You're going to have to invest time. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to get stuck in. You're going to have to do things you haven't done before. And yes, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but the rewards are great, okay? So don't let a robot steal your job, right? You're armed with the information now to figure out what it is that you need to do. Start doing this. Start doing this. Simplify, standardize, fix problems permanently. And then a robot will never be able to replace you. I hope this really serves you. I hope you appreciate this is how you earn your worth long term, okay? This is how you get to do things that you love and keeps you inspired every single day. So I hope this serves you. See you next time.